Hey everybody, I hope you all are doing great. I just wanted to show you what I am doing with my ICADs, which, see, is really sad. They're in a Crayola box. I used to have them in a small basket, and last year I had them in a small basket. This is last year's cards right here. And for some reason, I didn't do all 2 months, and I don't remember what happened, but I didn't complete all 2 months worth of cards, which is another reason why I really want to make sure that I do all 60 days this year. But so they were in a small basket and they fit in there just fine, but now I have all of these cards, and I don't have any place down here in my basement to put them. My work area is in the corner of our basement. It's unfinished. I have cinder block walls, so I don't have any display shelves where I can display anything that I've made. So I've got them in here, which is really pitiful. I thought about taking this lid off and decorating this somehow, so at least they could sit somewhere. Because there's probably enough room, maybe, for the rest of the month worth of cards. So I'm not sure. I did find, I'm trying to clean up my area right now. I started this afternoon because it's a complete mess, but I found one of these baskets. So I think they'll fit in here. Yep. So I guess for now, I'll put them in this basket. I don't know if I'll take these upstairs, so, you know, at least I can look through them whenever I feel like it, or if somebody wants to look through them, they can. But they fit in here a whole lot better and look a whole lot nicer. So, yep, see, Crayola box, pretty sad. So one of the ways that I am thinking about displaying my cards is I found this on Pinterest a while ago, and it's basically a yardstick, and it has corks adhered to it. So I thought that would be a really fun and unique way to display my cards. I just need to figure out where I would actually put this, but I have lots of wine bottle corks, and yardsticks are easy to come by, so I thought that would be a really neat way to display my cards. So hopefully I'll put that on my to-do list and I'll get that done. But I'll show you some cards that I did get finished that I did not do a video for. Over the weekend I cranked out 8 cards on, I think, Sunday, but I didn't videotape it. Let me see if I can find them. Not quite sure. Oh, here they are. So this one, I used the confetti streamer from one of those party poppers from the 4th of July. So I used some Mod Podge and put that on there. And I know this camera does not do good close up, but I don't know if you can see, this has got a lot of texture to it. And then I just colored it in with some of my Dr. P.H. Martin's watercolors, and I think I used some golden fluid acrylic on here. That's what this is right here. So there's that one, and it says, I had it upside down, it says an uneven rhythm on it. And then this one, on Effie Wild, I'm doing her book of days, and she showed us how to use gel medium as a resist, and I'd never thought of that before. So I thought, hey, I'm going to try that out on one of my cards. So this is, the white is where I used a stencil and scraped just golden gel medium on it and let it dry. And then I put some different acrylic paints on it and let it sit for a couple of seconds and wiped some of it off. And this is what's left behind, which is pretty cool. This says She Was Growing. This one I did another packing tape transfer. This right here this stained glass is one image from a postcard, and then the packing tape transfer I did with this magazine image. The tape is actually as wide as the card, but when I was rubbing the image off from the tape, I only rubbed off this part of the image, and I left this side, so that I wanted it to kind of try to blend together and see this clearly through on this side, but this clearly on that side, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But then I colored, I touched up the stained glass with my liquid watercolors and kind of went over it, you know, with green and stuff to kind of make it more colorful, make the colors more vibrant. And here's my 4th of July card. It has the backing. I saved this. This is the backing from the circle drywall tape. So I used both parts. I used the front that you actually stick down, and I saved this, and pieces of it are right there. And this is deli paper that I had used on another project to just mop up some color. So that's where all that texture comes from. And this one, you know, I think I just stuck down some of these stickers that I found while I was going through some office supplies in my basement, and colored them in with my watercolor markers, got them wet to let them run, and then just started adding just different colors on it, dripping. It says Whisper of Sound. And on this one I used, I don't know if I have any, just a sheet of the paper reinforcements. I just glued down the whole sheet. I didn't take any of the circles off. Glued down the whole sheet. It says, "And consider this." It's colored, gosh, I can't remember. I used my my Letraset Pro Markers, Aqua Pro Markers. And then I sprayed it and let it drip. And this is fluid acrylics. And this one, gosh, I think there was already some color on here that I had mopped up. This is modeling paste. And just, you know, dripped lots of probably my Hydrus liquid watercolors, which I'm really enjoying using and playing with. This is butterflies were on tissue paper that I cut out and glued down. This says "Only Be." This one was a baby wipe. So this is a whole baby wipe. It had color on it already, and I kept on adding other colors because it was all soft and sweet and pastels, and I tried to work with it and I just couldn't do it. I have to have bright color. So I put my liquid watercolors on it again. And this, and some stencils. This says "Their Voices Echoed." So those are the cards that I've made that I didn't do a video for. The other thing that I've been working on is I am doing Effie Wild's Book of Days class, and with her tutorial that she offers for free if you're part of her Glitter Hood, she has this amazing tutorial on how to make an album, not an album, but a journal. And so this is the one that I made. It's covered with canvas, and for my other one that I made using this technique, I gessoed the canvas, and that's great so that I can paint on it and decorate it, but I really don't know what I want to do with this one, and gessoing made it really stiff and just rough. And as I was putting this together, I liked the feel of just the plain canvas all on its own. So I decided to not gesso it, and gessoing it also kind of seals the edges so that it doesn't fray. So I went around all the edges with my sewing machine and did a zigzag to keep it from fraying. I can cut these off, but you know, I kind of like it. And the other thing that I did, because I'm kind of silly and for some reason I didn't want to cut this canvas, this is actually, as you know, it's wide, and I had a lot of canvas left over for this flap that wasn't needed, so I decided to fold it under and create it a pocket. So it's big enough that I could put, you know, a pack of pencils or even some watercolors, you know, like these little travel watercolor thingies. Gosh, I think I picked this up at Target on clearance. Hasn't even been used. So I could put that in there. Also, like a moleskin will fit in here. So if because I've been taking notes with her class and just doing some journaling that I want to add into here. So I can slip that in here as well. And it just folds up all nicely. I haven't put a closure on it yet. I haven't totally decided what I'm going to do. So I'm just kind of leaving it like this. But the pages are, they are 9 by 12. They're 9 by 12. This is actually made from, gosh, 24 by 18 inch watercolor, 140 pound watercolor paper. So I just have 3 signatures in here, and I think each signature has 5 or 6 sheets. I can add more. With this bookbinding technique, each signature is put in on its own, so it's very easy for me to add more. And since I have all this extra, it would, you know, be enough to still wrap around. So I just didn't know how many pages I would need for my book of days. So right now I just have 3, but this is the first page that I'm working on. It's for our intention of how we intend to use our journal. And I've been working on this all week. It has been absolutely crazy here, and I have not had any time to come down and spend lots of time working on anything. And this is really weird for me because usually I crank out a page as quickly as I possibly can because I know that my time is limited with my kids on naps or just them behaving so I can work. But this one I, you know, really wanted it to be nice, and I tried to go by with some of the techniques that Effie used, and you know, I thought this is special and I want this to be important and I'm not going to rush this. So I have been doing just bit by bit every day, or just a little bit each night. The background is, there's a little bit of collage on there with some scrapbook paper, and there were several layers of stencils. The challenge for this page was to use a stencil and then to alter how the stencil looked. So you can see I first went over it with acrylic paint, and a lot of the flowers were hollow. Let me grab the stencil. Maybe I can find it. Here's the stencil. So that's probably really difficult to see. If this is any better. There. Can you see it a little bit better? Nope. Well, the flowers, some of them are pretty much filled in, and then just a few, the petals are hollow. So I used the stencil with just red acrylic paint, and then at first I went over all of the open areas with some radiant pearls because I found these in my stash and I haven't used them in forever. And this is Peaceful Poppy, and it didn't want to dry very well just because of all of the other layers of acrylic that I had on here. The radiant pearls didn't want to soak in and dry. So I rubbed that off and got out my trusty Doc Martens liquid watercolors and went over them kind of sloppy with the watercolors, and then dipped a little bit of black in the middle of the flowers, and then used the end of my paintbrush to kind of go like that and scrape it out a little bit to kind of try to give it a poppy feel. And then I took my charcoal pencil and with an X-Acto knife and scraped the lead, some of the charcoal, onto the still wet ink, just to give it kind of a little, they have a little dusty look to it. I know it's really hard to see, and I'm sorry that my camera is so crummy. But that's what this looks like, and I'm really, really happy with how it is turning out. I've had several people ask if I did a video doing this, and I didn't, but I think that I will try to recreate this somewhat, because I need to do some canvases for a swap that I'm in, some art journal pages for a swap. So I'll try to do this as much as I can. A lot of this was where I made a mistake and just added another layer and moved on, so I'll do my best to show you how I did this, but I'm really, really, really happy with how this turned out. And I think that's all that I've been up to. Like I said, it's been really, really crazy here. My mom is, after 10 years, my father passed away 10 years ago, and she has wanted to move up here to be close to us and her grandchildren for that whole 10 years, and an apartment opened a couple weeks ago that we've kind of been looking at the past couple years, and she actually said yes. So I've been filling out paperwork and getting all of that approved, and it's just been absolutely crazy. So by the end of the month, we'll have Grandma up here living with us, which is really exciting. I have not lived by any of my families for 21 years now, since I got married, and my husband was in the Air Force, and we've been all over. Anyways, lots of emotions, lots of tears, a couple panic attacks. I really need to, and I haven't been able to art, and so that's really, really been adding on to my anxiety, because doing this is so therapeutic for me, and I have not had that outlet whatsoever. So it's going to be a rough ride the next few weeks. I don't know how much of anything I'll be able to do or share, so just know that all is well. I really appreciate all of your comments, and I'm trying to answer questions that have been asked. I do okay with my shoulder until I sit down and get at the computer and sit there. And as soon as I sit there for about 5 minutes trying to type, then my back, my shoulder just really, really, really starts aching. So anyways, I'm trying to write you back. So if you ask me a question, I'll do my best to write you back. But I really, really appreciate everyone's kind comments about my art and my family. So thank you so much. I hope that I can share with you some more later on, after I get my intention on here, and then I've got a